project is called Italian Narratives, the International Circulation of Brand Italy in the Media, and it examines the cultural impact of the images and models of Italianness that a series of contemporary Italian audiovisual and literary products are promoting abroad through their international distribution, circulation, and cultural reception. Against this backdrop, our talk today is based on the assumption that contemporary Italian audiovisual products are created following too many trajectories. On the one hand, certain cultural products obtain national and international success thanks above all to a use of immediately recognizable images associated with Italian identity, which are usually connected to stylized, iconic touristic destinations, to the national historical heritage and social context, or to other recognizable national elements. On the other hand, we find Italian media products that gain attention on a transnational level because the stories they present depict local elements from a sort of a globalized point of view. Today, we will examine a film that adopts such delocalization strategies and that has strong ties to the cinema of Dario Argento. We're talking about Luca Guadagnino's Suspiria, from now on Suspiria 2018. According to our perspective, this movie was produced and filmed in an international context, and it was conceived for a transnational circulation and viewership. Italianness in Guadagnino's Suspiria is not a central element. There are no images that can lead back to its Italian production. Its only tie to Italian identity is with Dario Argento's Suspiria, from now on Suspiria 1977, which is one of Argento's most renowned and internationally acclaimed films. The case study we presented today shows how in certain cultural texts, the connection to an Italian identity is indirect because it's mediated by other cultural texts. In the transition from Suspiria 1977 to Suspiria 2018, the Italianness of Guadagnino's film does not rest in the representations of certain aspects of the Italian reality. Rather, it emerges in the ways in which Guadagnino's film revisits and reinterprets the localized Italianness of Argento's film.
So again, to keep the conclusions going, when the film was first released, Clara Miranda Scherfig wrote on Il Sole 24 Ore that if Suspiria 2018, on the one hand, does not harm the deserved status achieved by Luca Guadagnino after the success of his Call Me By Your Name that came out in 2017, on the other, it certainly muddies the waters. So a research shows that this confusion could be instrumental, actually. Despite having had less international success than Call Me By Your Name, Suspiria 2018 seemed to have kept Guadagnino's professional capital and his image as an international author intact. Furthermore, the ways in which Suspiria 2018 forces us to rethink Suspiria 1977 and the ways in which viewers then have interpreted the links between the two films show an important aspect of the transnational reception of cultural products. They travel both in space and in time, and as they do so, they change their transnational identity by crossing different spaces and different eras. Usually, the transnational dimension of films is assessed through spatial categories, meaning the places in which the films are produced and distributed, both nationally and internationally, and the type of images of a specific place that they export. However, Suspiria 2018 reveals that transnationalism has also a temporal dimension. This is particularly true of the remake or the recovery of a previous film that inevitably requires a retrieval of the past. So when comparing Suspiria 1977 to Guadagnino's Suspiria, at least three major symbolic transformations are taking place diachronically. So the first symbolic transformation is a shift from a horror film, that of Argento Suspiria, to an art horror film, that is Guadagnino's Suspiria. The second transformation is the shift from an Italian film that has enjoyed international success to a film directed by an Italian filmmaker appreciated primarily by international communities of omnivorous cinephiles, as we define them. The third and last transformation is the shift from an old notion of delocalized transnationalism to a new one. So the old notion of transnationalism involved predominantly, but not exclusively, the production practices and the textual properties of films, as it was in the case of the 1970s Italian exploitation cinema. Conversely, nowadays, the new notion of delocalized transnationalism impacts mainly the international circulation of films and their cultural legitimacy. Specifically, this notion is typically found within the so-called globalized festival circuits. That is the international network of film festivals of which Guadagnino's Suspiria is part of. So we believe that the ways in which Guadagnino's Suspiria redefines the identity of Argento's Suspiria and Argento's cinema are a fertile ground to study more in depth the temporal dimension of transnational identity of Italian cultural products.